New alleged Star Trek leaks reveal 2 new shows. Hello, I'm Mr. Nailsin. Yes, according to Bounding Into Comics, there are leaks that provide details about Picard Season 2 and 2 new shows, or rather, I'm thinking maybe 3. But, info on Section 31 and all that good stuff you've been hearing about forever. But yes, it appears to be the case. Well, according to leaks from 4chan, but, occasionally, some of those tend to be true. And here lately, a lot of leaks have become true. So, yeah, take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, gotta treat it with a bit more seriousness. So, the leak from 4chan was originally shared to Twitter via Angry Mr. Flibble. So, the most exciting thing to come out of this, as far as I'm concerned, is a possible Captain Pike series with Anson Mount reprising the role as he played him in the Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, where he was completely and utterly wasted. But he was good. And I'm telling you, that bridge of the Enterprise that they showed at the end, of course, it looked fantastic. And it was leaps and bounds better than the one they used for the J.J. Abrams movie. And it's still, I still see him as like a parallel universe Pike, another alternate timeline Pike, because it's, the costumes are wrong, the bridge is wrong, and all that. But it looks good. And I would be more interested in a series following his adventures than Discovery or even Picard at this point. But keeping with that, it's not really canon, because you just can't. The way they've done this, it just doesn't fit at all. No real attempt was made to make it fit. It's dumb things like Spock saying, "We'll just pretend my sister never existed," and all that stuff. Oh God, that's lazy. And of course, they would need science fiction writers to bolster this stuff, because they clearly don't have any. It's more like magic than science fiction with what happens in that series. So, and stop chasing after plots and ideas from Sci-Fi Channel shows. I mean, is are those the numbers you're shooting for, CBS All Access? Hey, maybe you'll even beat CW, huh? Speaking of CW, another series they're thinking of is a Starfleet Academy series, which would be about students aimed for late teens and young adults. Oh boy, yeah, and they put in wine moms who want to still look like quirky nerds. But anyway, yeah, Bounding in the Comics has a very CW vibe to it. It sounds like Dawson's Creek with phasers. Yeah. Probably not even that good. It would be a teenage soap opera. And this thing has been tossed around for years. Even before, Bad Robot and Secret Hideout came into play. There was, I think even before like Enterprise got off the ground, I think they were tossing around different ideas for a new series. And that was one where it would be, basically a teen soap opera at Starfleet Academy. And I never had interest in it then, and I don't have any interest in it now, but there is an audience for that. Maybe they should just license that series to CW. It would make some money, probably more than you'll get on CBS All Access. But, so that's a possibility. And for the way that the writing goes on these shows, probably their best bet. I hate to say it, but I won't watch it. I have no interest in a Starfleet Academy soap opera. But the Pike show I'm interested in. But that's it. As for Section 31, that's the other show. They give so that's why I say the title says 2 new shows. I'm thinking it's 3, but I guess those 2 shows hadn't been mentioned before. Section 31 has been tossed around for quite a bit because Michelle Yeoh is supposed to be in it, and I think she desperately wants out of this thing. Another fine talent just wasted and made to look like an idiot. And that's just terrible. But anyway, Section 31 is expected to film this spring, so there you go. But the rumor explains the show will focus on the Gorn, Orions, and capturing slaver weapons. Okay. Well, yeah, that's interesting stuff to focus on. We don't ever get to see much of the Gorn. The Orions, we've seen a bit more here and there, but not a whole lot. The most would be in Enterprise. But yeah, that could be interesting stuff to look into. But the problem is, it's the same crew that's produced the show so far, and they're awful. So I don't know. Now, the follow-up paragraph here that Bending the Comics does here, the two new races are interesting to say the least. That's because, though they've been seen on screen in many Trek shows, hasn't been a lot focus on their races. It could give this new crop of writers at CBS a lot of wiggle room to really expand and create some new canon without having to worry about 40 years of TV and cinema. Well, to a certain extent, there are some things that, there's some limits, but ultimately, if they're just going to be set in those worlds or with those people, with, Section 31, I don't know, spying on them or what have you, yeah, they might have more wiggle room there. But this makes it sound like if it was set in the future, then future beyond Next Generation era and all that, then that would give them more wiggle room. But for whatever reason, they just don't want to do that. So the other rumor about Picard 2 is Q Continuum. Now, apparently one of the rumors is that Q will appear at the end of this current season of Picard. And so it makes sense that would carry over into the second season. But also Janeway would come back, Guinan, and that's, Picard's already had, openly talked to Whoopi Goldberg about doing that. Q, of course, would be there. And then Cisco is set to return. But Avery Brooks is unconfirmed, but it says if he won't come back, they'll get someone else to play him. I don't. I guess they would, but then maybe that would be for the best, because if they're going to destroy Captain Cisco, best to just recast it, and that's that. But Avery Brooks, he walked away from acting for the most part. He was raising his children, and he taught at Rutgers University. I did see him narrate like history documentaries and stuff on the Bible and stuff like that. But I don't know. But it says they might choose with Sirach Lofton. Well, okay, but maybe just recast. They should have recast everybody the way they're treating these characters, because they're gonna get dragged in. Now Janeway will just be there to tell all the men they're misogynist and terrible, which apparently Kate Mulgrew will just love, because she's all in the future's female cult. We got to get rid of all these men. That's what you do. So. Anyway, Captain Pike's the only thing that really interests me, even though I know it'll get ruined. It says that number 1 will play a more significant role. Yeah, that's probably a sign of it'll be Captain Pike and being bossed around by number 1. But most certainly Spock should be in a lesser role in this version, because number 1 was the first officer. And I wouldn't want to see them but they would. And I know they would just copy the Kirk and Spock relationship, which is not the relationship that would happen, because Captain Pike is an entirely different person. He's not Captain Kirk. And although there was a friendship there and a deep respect, because obviously Spock comes back to save Pike from his terrible fate and give him, a release there by going back to Talos 4 to live in a dream world, but much better than being trapped in that chair. So, obviously, yeah, there's a deep friendship there. But to copy the Kirk and Spock thing is just ripping off the old series and further damaging set continuity and whatnot. But the Pike character being his own personality and a more strict and by the book type guy is what I got from the cage, that he's not Captain Kirk. So if they could realize that and get some science fiction people to advise them on plots and whatnot, and just have your basic adventure series, each episode a new adventure. Yeah, that's the way it should be. And you might even have a damn hit. You might even have a resurgence for Star Trek if you just did that. You could have your own Mandalorian on your hands with that. Then yeah, that might happen. Other than that, I don't know. The best thing to do would be to create a series in the distant future, which is what you should have done in the first place with Star Trek Discovery. But still, you need sci-fi consultants on that, and you need, adventure stories. The rest of it, right now, you don't have anything. It's obvious. You're making it up as you go along. You slap things around. You just have a lot of very cool looking and expensive special effects and movie level type sets and whatnot. And it looks great, but none of it makes sense within the story of Star Trek. And it's just, below sci-fi Saturday night movie level writing. So yeah, I think CW can beat you. So that's where you are now. But hopefully smarter heads are in the room since the merger, and maybe this is an attempt to try to fix Star Trek in its current state. And maybe they will. Maybe they will, and one can hope. So again, this is a rumor, of course, but it's at least with the Pike series, that one I think is the best one to look at and hope for the best. As for Picard, well, we'll see. We have 2 episodes in. There's a lot of bad in there, but there's also some good, and hopefully the good wins out. I'm dubious, but at best, I think it can be an okay show. But something like Pike, yeah, go for that. Forget about Starfleet Academy. If you're going to do that, then yeah, license it to CW. They know how to do that stuff, and they have that audience already. It's not going to get any bigger. In fact, it seems to be shrinking. But yeah, that's where that goes. Section 31, I don't know. With these writers, yeah, but but Pike, yeah, get on that. Get on that. All right, thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe, and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores that have plenty of goodies for you. T-shirts, hats, mugs, all that goody stuff. Then you can skip and hop over to indieplanet.com where you can pick up my comic book, Night Night. Yes, The Adventures of Night Night, based on my audio plays called Night Night. Who'd have thunk it? Yes, get your copy of Night Night today. You can also listen to the Mr. Nailsin Show over at RadioMisfits.com. New episodes every Saturday. And you can also watch my videos over at BitChute. That's the Mr. Nailsin channel at BitChute.com.